Okay, so welcome back, and you can probably see that we are now in a different viewer. If you look up here to the top left, it says Black Dragon, and you can see it's a lot different looking than, say, Firestorm or the original SL viewer. And part of that is that I didn't have my Firestorm viewer dialed all the way up to ultra preferred. Some behind the scenes things that they've been doing server side, I think, have just, even with my specs, have made it a bit laggy, utilizing it in busy sims. So I dialed my Firestorm back a bit. My Black Dragon, I always keep at ultra preferred. And I can also run you through some of those, some of the nod, any of the modules that I've dialed in, and give you an idea where my sliders are set, just so you get an idea as well, like how you could or should dial things in. Mind you, if you want to know my specs, they are on my Flickr, under Bexomata. And I do have in my profile section, my About Me, it shows you a full spec. And I can pull that up for you at some point during these videos so that you can see. But for now, just know it is dialed to ultra preferred. We're going to talk about the posing and the wind light over these next few videos, just so you can kind of see where my head's at whenever I'm looking at a scene, trying to set up for what is this wind light doing to affect the image, my character, and then posing, like how to do that within the viewer. Posing is going to be its own video. So right now, let me look up the pose that we had talked about in the last video. And that was, I looked it up already, actually. It's right here, VAH stand 03. We're going to play it in world. So as you can see, it plays it where I can see it. And there are some differences to this viewer as far as the tools go, not just in the poser, but in some of the controls. For instance, the camera controls here, you'll see they look almost the same. Difference are these two arrows right here on either side, which actually help tip the scene. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of it in the real world or in SL, but there are instances where it does help and works out if you use it sparingly, like hot sauce. You don't put it on everything unless you're me. But in the real photography world, it doesn't matter if you have every little spice in the spice rack. You don't use them every time, every day. So same thing with the tip. Sometimes the tip comes in handy. So let me count this. 1, 2, 3. That's a tip. Just wanted to be able to put it back. I'm a big fan of straight horizon lines, and I'll even straighten other people's stuff out if I see that it's slightly tipping. But that's just the OCD in me. We can cam around, take a peek at my character, what it looks like in world with this current wind light. And I'm not exactly sure which wind light this is right now. It's set at the last wind light that I logged out at. But let's go ahead and take a peek at what wind lights are. Now, some of these wind lights I created myself. Not all these wind lights come with Black Dragon. I actually get more wind lights through the Firestorm viewer, but you can copy everything that you have in your Firestorm viewer over to Black Dragon. So I have a huge library when it comes to wind lights, and then you can edit each one of them. If you don't like the way it looks, you can edit it to your own taste. So as you can see, the way that I've set up my screen, up top I've got Mike, my talk bubble, my friends, appearance, and my inventory. Down below, which for me is one of two of the most important sets of tools in Black Dragon, the poser that I told you about in the last video, my preferences, my camera controls, my sky editor, and my water editor. These are the ones that I pretty much live in when I'm trying to figure out what flavor it's going to be. And then this side pull-out bar, again, second most important tool in this system. It's called the Machinima sidebar. So if you click that, and you can actually put it anywhere, I just choose to put it to the side. But here's where I can easily set, okay, do I want depth of field? Ooh, look, now I've got the blurry effect that some people call it the blurry effect. It's depth of field, folks. So depth of field. I can choose which lights to render. Do I want self-attached lights, other attached lights? Do I want to enable full bright? I hate full bright, so I always disable it. Flycam controls. I do actually have a controller that allows me to fly cam through scenes. And it's nice because it's smooth movement, and that's more from Machinima, but it's great. You can enable it right here. Wind light, I don't choose any of my wind light information from here. I don't use region, which region means whatever the sim owner has set the wind light up to be is what you're going to see. I just uncheck that because I prefer to dial in my own wind lights. And then this is super granular detail information about shadows and how they look. You do have to adjust these somewhat whenever you're shooting. Your screen space, ambient occlusion. This becomes ungrayed once you have marked the depth of field box. And then screen space reflections, post-processing, lighting and glow. This all changes depending on the mood and what I'm going for. All right, so that's kind of like a rough recap of the Machinima sidebar. We'll get further into all of this soon. Right now, I'm going to talk about Winlight. And as far as Winlight goes, I'm going to just right off the bat hit Sky Editor. It's going to bring up this handy box, and it gives me 3 tabs: Atmosphere, Lighting, and Clouds. Atmosphere is if I want to edit a current Winlight. Lighting is if I want to edit the lighting. But this is basically where I'm going to live for now because I do a lot of changing with my positioning of sun, moon, and my east angle. Okay, so just to start out, here's the list of all of the wind lights that I currently have loaded up. And as you can see, there's quite a lot. Yep, quite a lot. So I know how a lot of these look, generally speaking, but if I'm just feeling kind of like I want to do a crapshoot, then I might go down to the bottom because I rarely get down to the bottom, and then just start upwards. So as long as this is highlighted, I can just use my arrow keys and go up, enter, up, enter. And this just helps me cycle through what there is so I can kind of see, oh, what looks good? What do I like? What lends to the scene or the feel, or, you know, what is it showing me that I don't see in another wind light, etc. You can see this is heavy with shadows from the existing sunlight, as you can see to the right of my character on the ground. And just cycle through. This is a very harsh, direct sunlight, probably, you know, late in the day. I'd say that's probably about 6 p.m. Some of these are very surreal. But you just kind of cycle through them, see what you like. Sometimes, depending on my mood, I might stick with like particular wind lights. Oh, this is nice. It casts a nice shadow. If you can see this down here, see where my feet, my legs are casting a nice shadow. The light's coming from this big gap. And I can actually alter that if I want to. Because I kind of like how the light is right now. I will denote in my head like what my sun moon position is and what my east angle is. So right now sun moon's at 7:49 a.m. East angle is at 0.010. But if I want to change that, I can change that. I can change the angle. say I want that angle. And it really is a crapshoot because, you know, I don't know what up here of the structure is blocking the sunlight. It's going to react very much, because of the way that I have everything dialed in, it's going to react very much like real life. So if there's a wall in the way, then the sun won't get to you. As you can see, the sun is directly overhead. It's casting my shadow down directly underneath me. So it's not very dynamic. But you can change, you know, where the east and west of your sun is by changing the east angle. So this just gives you an idea. I'm just going to keep walking up the list. Some of them in this list are pretty damn crazy. Some of them look hyper real, some surreal. There's even a famous artist that works in here. She goes by Bryn O inside the game. I want to say, I think she's Canadian, but I feel like she's Canadian. I know I've texted her, instant messaged her a few times when I've seen her at her installations. And she doesn't just do installations in here. She does installations in museums in the real world and incorporates this world with that. She's really good at what she does. She makes amazing pieces that sometimes just speak of morbid stories, political, religious. It just, I guess, whatever, depends on her mood, obviously, as is with most artists. But Bryn O, what I was trying to get at, is she created some of these wind lights that are being used in viewers. So they belonged to a lot of the installations that she created in World. And they're named as such. This is interesting. Oh, that's kind of cool. So basically, my point to this is just, you just kind of have to go through, look at what speaks to you. You know, I love the way that this casts, but you see no light on my character. This would be the point where it might be beneficial to add an attached light in this particular situation. If I was on my own sim and I could res something down, I'd rather res a light down, but if not, because I'm somewhere else, I'd wear the light and then let the light cast on me. Like, I'll give you an idea. I keep wearable lights in my inventory. Photo light ball. Oh, that's in the trash. So maybe we won't pick it up from the trash. Let's just look up. Oh, where's my light balls? Where's my light balls? There we go. Okay. So I have light bulbs turned off, attached light bulbs. I can come over here and render. See this? Render self-attached lights. Click that on and boom. The only thing I don't like about it is it usually turns white to black. So my beautiful white hair now looks black. It's just the way the shading is. So that's one reason why I tend to stay away from it. But if I could resoluate to bring focus on my character and leaving this beautiful background, then I would do that. So for now, I'm just going to leave rendered self lights on in case I have to attach anything. But I'm opting to remove the light ball, and we're just going to switch up the wind light. So I'm going to keep playing around with this wind light. I don't want to use the video up, the time up, to locate it for you. Once I've narrowed it down to a particular light, then I will be back.